Hi, and welcome to A Better Place. Today we will be discussing the topic on daycare centers. And our guests for today are Ms. Denise Cornette-Remou, the Inspectress of Daycare Centers, and Ms. Bernadette Stevens of SIFMA. Stay tuned, we will be right back. Denise and Bernadette, welcome to A Better Place.
Thank you very much.
We're going to get right into the program, ladies. Denise, tell us, how did you start working as an inspectress?
Okay, I was working first at Sector Healthcare in the vaccination program, and I knew that there would be a vacancy as an inspector, so I decided to apply, and here I am today.
Can you say that thus far being an inspector is living up to the expectations that you had for that job?
It is more. You have to be dealing with a lot of personalities. You have to get around. You have to know how to talk to certain persons, especially when they're mad and they're upset. This is my last dime that I have to spend. So you have to know how to talk to these people and make them understand, always pointing them back to the ordinance. Read the ordinance. If you don't understand, you can call at all times. When I say at all times, meaning from Monday to Friday, that's working hours, 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, you call. And if I'm not in the office, I always say leave a message for me. And as soon as I get back to the office, I will return the call.
So tell us, what are some of the main tasks of an inspectress?
Okay, specifically being an inspectoress of the daycare centers, the main task is to ensure that the safety of the children are adhered to in all sense of the word. Not only that your place is properly fenced, but also that you don't have no dangerous things on your playground, the building itself. Everything has to be safe. And when I say safe, we come in and we look at everything. Sometimes persons will say, my outlets all are covered. But when you go to check the outlets, the electrical outlets, you see some of them is uncovered. So you have to ask the person one time to put the cover of the outlet back on the outlet. And also open doors. Open doors is sometimes like a child can walk away, and a child is very swift. Even though you there standing, sometimes the child walk around you and you're not seeing the child. So safety is the main thing. So I start with safety and I end with safety. Everything has to be safe for the child.
Okay, so you said that safety is very important. But what are some of the other requirements? Because I know, and we had this brief discussion, that when I was looking for a daycare for my son, that was about 3 years ago, I actually asked a lot of questions, and I called the inspectress was Miss Martina, and I had a lot of questions, what are the requirements? How do you help someone choose a proper daycare for your child? And stuff like that. And I know I also asked about, which schools were qualified, because I was hearing that some schools were not meeting the criteria which were set by the inspectorate to actually be open. So that was a concern of mine. So I would like to know if you can elaborate a bit on what are some of the requirements for a daycare center to operate.
When someone wants to start a daycare center and they call to get information, the first thing is I'd sit down and I will talk with a person. Have a good talk with a person, explaining them the ordinance, giving them the ordinance also to take home to read. And if they have questions, they can always call back to get some clarifications on that. And also the building that you're going to choose. You're supposed to choose your building wisely, not choose any building. Sometimes you can have a perfect building, but it is not safe for children, much less for the adult. And once you have the building, then you call us in, and then we coming in to inspect the building. So when I'm coming to inspect the building, I will be coming with the fire department, because they will be checking at safety. Also safety, I will be coming with someone from the Arrow Bay. They will be checking the safety of the building. So when we talk about all of that, and then they will make the report and they will give it to the person. That's the pre-inspection. And then we take it from there. So you go, you read your ordinance, then you know you have to be choosing your name for your daycare, the Chamber of Commerce. You have to register yourself. You need to register at the notary, having your deed, proof of labor registration. It have a number of things that the ordinance is telling you what you need to get started. So we start with the building, because you're supposed to have a good building.
Right.
And when you have your building and everything is in place according to the ordinance, then we have to start looking, are you have qualified persons to work with you? Because most of the time, the person that is coming to ask permission to open a daycare center, they are already either in training or they have completed their training. So we're always looking for qualified persons to work in a daycare. Sometimes you might have a person that is not qualified as yet, but we always ask you to work alongside with a qualified person and not to leave the unqualified person or uncertified person working alone with a group of children.
Okay.
We will always prefer that you are well covered in education so that you can pass that on to the children.
So are you saying that someone who is not certified cannot or should not then be dealing with a class on their own? So they would actually be then an assistant in the classroom?
An assistant. It's preferable you be an assistant.
Okay.
And while being an assistant, then you can apply or go to the SIFMA to get yourself trained. What I get a lot sometimes is persons saying, I did something online. You did it online, but you didn't have nobody to guide you.
Right.
How would I know that you are qualified to do whatever you have to do? Also, we get persons that are coming from abroad. They come with their papers, the documentation saying, I have done something in childcare. First thing I would say, you know, sometimes you look at the papers and you say this is not sufficient.
Right.
So, because I'm not an inspector in that area, I will always refer the person to the ministries of education to get the documents evaluated, which it will take a couple of weeks for them to do that. Also, a fee is attached to that.
Okay.
So it is never you just go in and then they answer you one time. They have to take time to go back to the origin of your documents for them to evaluate it.
Bernadette, do you have some of the persons who probably come to SIFMA to do the course who have already done training abroad, and because their qualifications might not meet the standards of what we require, they want to, you know, attend the course at SIFMA?
Yes, but mostly they come from a daycare center or are looking for a job in the daycare center. So, like Denise said, always we refer them to the educational department,
Right.
so they can have their certificate, diplomas, whatever, evaluated.
Okay, so you don't do the evaluation
No,
part?
no.
Okay, good. Well, Denise, tell us, is there a specific number of daycares that are allowed to operate on the Dutch side of St. Martin?
Well, we don't have no specific number, and it's neither regulated by law. But what we do have at this moment, we have about 40 daycare centers that
Okay.
are operational. I have at the moment one daycare center that we are trying to get them up to par. Two others that are operating also, their request has been sent in to get their license. But all the others have their license now.
Okay, so basically all of the daycares then are meeting the requirements.
Yes, but when you go on your regular inspections, you will see certain things that they need to brush up on.
How do you then deal with that? Because, you know, there are a number of issues that a daycare might have, you know. And for me, I'm always asking about the qualifications of teachers, because for me, that is very important, because
Yes.
I think, you know, they always say being a parent doesn't come with a handbook.
No,
And
we don't have that.
but I do believe if you're going to be in a specific situation where you're dealing with children on a daily basis and for a specific number of hours, and that it's not your own, and then you have at least 8 or 9 in one classroom,
Yeah.
that you should be qualified and you should have the know-how to deal with these children. So would you then say that they do meet the requirements, but then most of the teachers are also qualified?
Majority is qualified. What we get sometimes that you find teachers shift from one school to the next.
Okay.
And also something like that, you the owner of the daycare have to notify the department, well, I have a shift in personnel, and also so that they can submit the documentation of that person, so that you know for sure, well, what you had quality, and what you get back quality.
Okay, so that is something
So
that you
preferable that whoever is working with children, that they get themselves qualified to work with the children, and also to keep themselves upgraded, because some is trained a number of years ago,
Right.
and for now when you ask, are you trying to upgrade yourself, you know, you'll get some certain answers that you really don't want to hear, but I will prefer that everybody try to keep themselves abreast of what is going on, and so that you know that the quality that is coming out of your daycare, that you know you're sending off a child with good qualities to the kindergarten. So that when they reach in the kindergarten, then the teacher will know, well, this child is properly trained.
Building a good foundation.
Yeah, the foundation is there.
A strong foundation for children coming up is very important.
Yes.
And that is why I'm so adamant, and I wish more parents would, you know, be more keen about choosing the daycares that they do choose for their children, because I believe that that's very important, that foundation that they get,
Yeah.
that helps them to grow up. Well, thanks so far for giving me this information,
welcome.
Bernadette and Denise. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Man, I'm supposed to take my girl out to dinner this weekend. I'm so broke, man.
Man, I used to have those same problems, you know. But since I got my whip company card, when I take my lady out, I even get something back, you know.
Get something back. But you're a lucky fella.
I take your mind out the gutter, man. What I mean is, with whip company I get back 1% on every purchase I make. With this card, I can spend in guilders and use it throughout the Netherlands and Titties. Instead of paying 1% of the dollar credit card, now I get 1% back on every purchase I make at the end of the year.
What? I gotta get myself a company on card.
Man, but let's go.
Let me go. Man, now my lady's birthday gonna be a real celebration.
At least now with whip company I know you're gonna get something back.
The Web Compaleon credit card with limits as low as 500 guilders. You don't have to walk with cash, and it is accepted by practically all businesses. The Web Compaleon is the first guilder credit card that can be afforded by anyone.
Welcome back to A Better Place. Denise, before we went on break, we were discussing some of the requirements for a daycare center to be operational here on St. Martin. Is there anything else you would like to add to what you have already said?
Yeah, I would like to add also that when we come in to do the pre-inspection in the daycare centers, we also take along the food safety group, because for you to prepare